Hello, thank you all for coming. We'll start with you, Professor Stern. Hello.
Hi, hi.
So Israelis have different visions about the purpose, future of the state. Should we look for an agreement, mutual vision, or should we accept the dispute as a fact and focus on the rules of the game?
Short answer, no chance.
Thank you very much.
Now to explain. No, there is no way that we Jews, and Jews in Israel specifically, will agree on the vision of the state. We are made of many different groups of identity. Each one of these groups has a special way of looking at reality, understanding reality, and hoping for a different future. If you are an ultra-Orthodox, you want a religious state. If you are secular, you usually want a nation state. If you are a religious Zionist or a Masorti, you want both, some kind of combination. And if you are an Israeli Arab, you want a neutral state. Thinking about combining these different views into one narrative is just impossible. Is it desirable? I believe no. I believe the success of the state of Israel is based on the fact that we have a rich, lively dispute about our future. This is part of the cloud in our life. It's not easy. I never win in my society, and you never win in your society. None of us is a winner, but none of us is always a loser, which is the most important part of living together. It doesn't mean that we do not have to address the disputes. Listen, we do not have a constitution. As opposed to the American nation and many, many nations, we do not have rules for the game. The Knesset decides time after time what will be the rules for the next, till the next election. This is not good. 2 weeks usually, yes. It's not good, obviously. But despite the fact that we're living on shifting sands constitutionally, the fact is that our disputes are making us dynamic, alive, interesting, and achievers. If I may say one sentence, the other conference dealing with high-tech is an expression of the Israeli and Jewish spirit of dispute, of not accepting anything. And this is not only from today. Open the Talmud. There's a Talmud scholar sitting next to me, and you'll find out that there's never exclamation mark, always question mark. This is our life. We have a lot of things that should be done, and if I'll just connect myself to the last slide of Ronnie, who is the next leader for the Jewish people, the one who will be able, the new Herzl, is the one who will be able to, not to unite us, but to make us functioning together to achieve national goals despite the disputes and using the disputes. This is the major challenge of Jews and of Israel for the next generation.
So, Professor Calderon, let's talk about maybe an attempt for a solution. In the beginning, there were talks about giving the Declaration of Independence something like a new status, but it didn't really fit as Israel's constitution. There's no replacement for a constitution. So what are the odds?
Not yet. You're right. I want to say before we start talking about that the experience of seeing all of you and meeting over lunch people from Europe and South America, Central America, and from Israel and from North America and Canada, it's like we are not saying it, but it's such a sweet feeling of solidarity, of family. And I feel this warmth and being together with my people, even though I guess we don't all agree on anything, but it's something that is a huge strength. Now, I did try, like many before me in the Israeli Knesset, to use the Declaration of Independence as some kind of a preface to the one day to become a constitution, because, as was said before by Rabbi Wolpe, it is so beautifully written. It's like a piece of art. It's almost poetry. And it's a moment in time when all the different fractions of Israeli society of 48, even the ultra-Orthodox, in some magical moment agreed to sit together and to say, let's go for it. Let's build a homeland for the Jewish people in the land of Israel with the inspiration of the prophets, and with our hand given out to our fellow neighbors in the Arab countries to come and build a new Middle East together with us. And that moment, I think, is better and more, even politically, makes more sense for us to agree on in the old Jewish way of, when you want to say something new, go to an ancient text that is classic, that is accepted, that we know by heart, and from there give it new meaning. And so I still believe, I know from my short service at the Knesset, that things don't happen quickly, but they do build one on the other. It's like running and giving the stick to the next runner after you, and I still believe in that. Having said that, I want to add I am an admirer, a chassid of Herzl, and I love the style that he put into that, coming with frocks and white ties. I wish we could do that again, maybe in the gala tomorrow night. But I am the follower of another prophet, Echad Ha'am, who said to Herzl, it is right that you want to save the Jews, but we also need to save Judaism. And I am a student of Echad Ha'am, and I believe, in Israel, when very important visitors come, heads of states, the prime minister usually takes them to one of two places, either to the Wailing Wall, to the Kotel, to say this is our religion heritage, and then he says Israel is a religious state in some way, or to Yad Vashem, to say never again, we will, we have an army and we'll never be persecuted again. And I would like to suggest a third venue, not against one of those, but I would take them, if I would be prime minister, to Sifriya Leumit, to the National Library of Israel, where all the treasures of culture, the handwriting of Kafka when he's studying Hebrew, the manuscript of Maimonides, the dress of Yafa Yarkoni when she sings famous songs, the poets and the writers, and theater and manuscripts of Bible and Mishnah and Talmud, the spirit, the culture that we all share, together with the things that we don't agree on, the different denominations or the different religion, sects and so on. I believe that culture, and I am following Bialik and Echad Ha'am, and many of the communities that are sitting here, that not all are necessarily religious or connected in their Jewish culture to only a synagogue, but they live in a dialogue with Hebrew, with the land of Israel, with the ethos, with the story from Abraham until the coming out of Egypt until today, and with the amazing creativity that we have today in Israel, in theater, in television. Shtisel is doing more good than, or as much good as studying Mishnah today. And that, again, connects us all in feeling that we have this richness, this treasure that belongs to all of us. So I would, as an optimistic, I would think that there is a way to educate our young grandchildren and children to feel that they own this treasure, and that the different interpretations to it is giving us more richness and not separating us apart.
In line with this discussion topic, feel free to intervene. This is a conversation, so feel free. But maybe before we go on, Professor Stern, a few words to add to the equation the delicate relationship between Israel and diaspora Jews.
Yeah, I just want to say that there was once, or more than once, an attempt to make the Declaration of Independence of the State of Israel a law in Israel. And unfortunately...
Basic law.
A basic law. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. And the reason is that we Israelis cannot agree on the declaration today, unfortunately. So we should understand reality and face it. Now, regarding the relationship between the Jews in Israel and Jews in the diaspora, I want to say, to give a take on it, we are now in the midst of a change of this relationship in a very, I would think, clear and cut way. For the next 2.5 generations, Israel was a poor nephew, and our brothers outside of Israel were their rich uncle. Everybody knows this. And Israelis are very thankful for it. In return, so to speak, Jews in the diaspora received Israel as an anchor of identity of their Jewishness. It was an expression, one of them, but major expression, of being a Jew outside of the state of Israel, adoring Israel, loving Israel, supporting Israel, fighting for Israel. This equation is not anymore in the same place. I'm now careful about it. On one hand, as we saw, Israel is a very prosperous country. Israel, I think, can contain itself in a very nice way. Israel, even if you compare it to European countries, economy-wise, we are in the first third of European countries. At the same time, our young generation of Jews in North America are not looking at Israel as a center of identity. 40% of Jews in North America under the age of 30 today do not support Zionism. Now the question is how we can act with this new equation in a way that will serve the Jewish people in Israel and outside of Israel.
So, Mr. Spokojny, how can we find a mutual idea when we live in a time of weakening belonging of collective identities?
So thank you. And I think that what you're saying about the diversity and the problem of having one focus of identity and one narrative, one project is, I live it every day. I run a network of funders, and there are funders from the left, from the right, Israelis, American, they all think differently. And the temptation we always have is the temptation to go to the lowest common denominator. And the problem that you outline, that you also mentioned, is that young people today are not, it doesn't appeal to them, the lowest common denomination. Because what we offer young people is a menu of basically two dishes, kinship and victimhood. In other words, we tell them you have to be Jewish, you have to be a Zionist because we're victims, because they persecute us, because we need to protect ourselves. Or we tell them we have to be a Jew and a Zionist because we're all part of the same family and we're all linked. Somebody came up with a Jewish gene that we all share. But for the young people today, that doesn't cut it. They want, this is a world of hyper-empowered individuals who would choose their own way. It's not that they don't want Zionism. It's that they want to build their own story. Now, peoples, nations are stories. I mean, a nation doesn't really exist. What exists is a story that binds people together. So what is the story of Zionism and of Israel and of the Jewish people that we can propose to young people, not just to young, I'm not young, I need the story too, to get them connected in a way that doesn't require to us always defaulting on victimhood and kinship, because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I think that Herzl, going back to the theme of today, I think that Herzl had the vision. Herzl, like Micha was talking about Alt-Neuland. That's, Chevra Yehudit leMofet, a model Jewish society. Now, we can debate what does that mean, right? But what is more exciting for a young Jew to say, here is a country where you can still mold, you can still shape a model society that belongs to you, that you own, that you create. People can't do that in the United States. It's too big, it's too mature. It's already like, people don't feel that they have the power to do that. But in Israel, they can. So all these conversations are really important. In other words, we want to engage young people in writing the new Jewish story, on define what makes us a people. It's not that we're persecuted. There's something positive, a vision for the future, for ourselves and for the world, that is going to motivate people that be part of this story.
So maybe we'll get to that, but we only have 5 minutes, and I want to talk to Bat Galim. If we talked about the ideas and theories, Bat Galim, maybe you can share your experience being one of mother of one of the 3 boys. How do you see the effect of Jewish unity these days?
So I think that the fact that we have different narratives and conflicts, it's not new. What unites us and brings us together is our experience and our past and our future. And we can share our dreams and our hopes, and I want to share my own experience. 8 years ago, my son was kidnapped along with Naftali and Eyal Frankel. Most of you remember them as the 3 boys. It was 18 days of searching for them, 18 days of uncertainty and terrifying days, but also 18 days of unity and mutual responsibility. It's very hard to deal with these situations alone, but Am Yisrael came to our home to be with us. Jews from all around the world, from all the kinds of people, secular and religious, right and left, came to our home to be with us. And there are some people who say that we know to be together only in danger time. And I think that it's not obvious, the fact that we know to be together when it's a tragic time. And it can learn and teach us about our capability. I think that 8 years ago, we saw our capability as a nation, as a society. 8 years ago, we saw the good within us, the good in the others. And I think the potential that we have as a society, it's amazing. And if we can believe in ourselves and we can understand how good and how mutual responsibility we feel one each other, so we will understand that we are one for each other every time. So it's very hard to be like this in the day-to-day routine, and we sometimes fell down and we sometimes feel angry, and it's okay, it's a normal place. But if we will remind ourselves and remind our capability as a nation, I think it's amazing, and we can get strength for it.
But I want to challenge you, if it's okay. I think you were and are surrounded by people who don't need to be persuaded. I think you're surrounded by people who feel the love, make you feel the love. What about the other half? Half? Is it half? I don't know.
Yes, I think that in those days I realized that when you are speaking about Am Yisrael, it's not only the 7 million Jews who are living in Israel who were affected. There are more than 7 million Jews around the world. Those hearts were with us. And when we're speaking about Am Yisrael, like in 14, 15, 16 million Jews around the world, it's a power, it's a strength. And I think that we have to understand that we are brothers, and brothers take care one for each other, even if they different, even if they think different in a different way. And Rabbi Zaks, we mentioned him before, he said that when we stay and live with people who are thinking different from us, we grow up. And I think this is our strength, like a Jewish nation, that we think different and it's okay. Our strength, it's an amazing fact that we are different and we don't have to be afraid from it, okay? So we can grow up with it and we have to give each of us to live what we believe and how we're thinking, but we have to remember that we are brothers, and I'm here for one message for the Jewish around the world. I want to say that we love you, we care about you, we are really one nation, and it's very important to remember it every time.
In a word.
Yeah, no, I just want to say that your story, Bat Galit, is an example of how to transform a tragic event into a positive vision. And I think that that's what we're talking about, right? We know that we have persecution, that we have suffering, and that's what Herzl did. He transformed a tragic history of persecution into a positive vision. And I think that that's what you did in your life, what we're trying to do here, is also that. Create a positive vision for the future, for the Jewish people, for something that is a collective Jewish project of Jews, wherever they live in the world, to bring that into a reality. And that could be a very powerful message for the Jewish world moving forward.
I really want to be Dr. Micha Goodman now and take more time, but unfortunately, we are very done. Thank you so much for all of you. It was just the beginning.